Here we go, episode 137 of the Hardline Sports Talk. Michael Merlo, John Michael Masiri, here with you over the computer today, over Zoom, over StreamYard, actually. Don't give Zoom any credit for work they're not doing.
Yeah, wow.
JM, a slow sports news cycle here. We have people talking about the Giants' hard knocks, off-season hard knocks. It's been very entertaining reliving what I thought was a decent offseason for the team, but they'll be judged obviously on how they play. But JM, on this wonderful Thursday evening in the middle of the summer, how are you doing?
I am doing good, Michael. You failed to mention how hot this random Thursday is. It's getting a little ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
I'm wearing jeans out here. I can't wear shorts to work. It's a struggle, okay? It's a real struggle. The car is hot. The phone gets hot in the car. We talked about this the last time. It's getting real bad now, overheating real quick. I don't know what to do about it. I should have capitalized on Amazon Prime Day, bought myself one of those little phone holder things, put it right over the AC. Didn't think of it. Now I just did. A little too late.
It's a serious, like, that's a problem for you. Like, that's a
It's a
serious
problem.
problem.
It's a
How?
problem. I think the detriment of my phone's battery over the years. I've had this phone for like, I don't know, 2.5 years now. I think it's due to that. I think that's the major factor. And now we know Apple does it on purpose. Even if they deny it, they do it on purpose that these batteries wear out. But this, we definitely sped up the process with the whole baking the phone in the sunlight thing.
You know, you got a decent job. You've been working for a little bit. I think we're at a point with you here that you could be getting a new phone every two
It's just,
years.
you
You can
know,
be getting a new phone every 2 years now.
one of those things where it's just like a matter of like, for whatever reason, your brain's like, I don't like to spend money on that thing. That's the phone for me. Like,
No.
I'll buy as many Jets jerseys as possible and spend money every day on Chipotle and whatnot. But the phone, unnecessary.
I want an updated phone at least 2 years. I do that. I even with the money I don't
Yeah.
have, I go and
Yeah.
I get a new phone every 2
I
years.
know you're a little tech geek like that. I know.
Yeah, and I get made fun of big time by our friends. Anyway,
That's right. You're a good kid. It's all good
yeah,
fun, you know?
trying to be a good kid. Trying to
Nice
be a good
haircut,
kid.
by the way.
Great,
2 fresh fades for this podcast.
great haircut
Nice.
today by my guy Jose. Unbelievable haircut
Jose's on
today.
his job.
He
Jose
had
was on the hot seat a little, no?
He was 2 straight bad ones,
Yeah.
and he came back with vengeance today.
Yeah.
I got a big weekend this weekend. I'm going straight to the Jersey Shore after the weekend, so I couldn't get the haircut like for the Jersey Shore, which I usually do every year.
Mhm.
So the Jersey Shore ladies will have to see me with a little bit longer hair this year. It's fine. We're gonna give them a mix of both.
Exactly.
So it'll be nice. We'll see. We'll see
That's
how it
nice. You
goes
gotta
down
spice
there.
it up for them. You can't let them get used to the same product all the time, you know?
Exactly. I also wasn't there last year. They missed me big time last year. So
Mhm.
we'll see what happens. Anyway, we're going to talk football today because baseball has its All-Star break. And by the way, JM, first year ever, I didn't watch a single pitch of the All-Star game. I couldn't
Wow.
do it. I couldn't do it.
Well,
The uniforms were disgusting. And I think this is now the last year. I think even Rob Manfred realizes that they should be wearing their own uniforms in the game. You want to give me a designer hat that matches the team's jersey, but is not the regular hat so they could sell it. Fine. I like that. But enough's enough with the same jersey for every team.
to me,
Your own jersey.
they had it right in the past with the wear the jerseys in the home run derby and then wear the real team jerseys in the game. Like, you wear those All-Star game jerseys in the home run derby, you know, when everybody's walking around the field taking pictures beforehand. You get like the social media pages taking pictures of all their teams, All-Stars. Like, cool. Have them all wear their American League and National League All-Star jerseys. Game time, I totally agree. The aesthetic of and I disagree. Normal hat, like, I don't even want the designer hat in there, right? So
Okay.
give me the plain normal jerseys. It has a really cool feel. It reminds you of like a Field of Dreams movie scene kind of a thing. Like, it's awesome. And I will agree to an extent of not watching the festivities. Like, I watched more of the All-Star game than I did the home run derby, actually.
Really?
I guess that's more of a team intrigue because my you know, I didn't have any Yankees in the home run derby, and I also thought the lineup this year kind of sucked, to be honest with you. But I think the release of College Football 25 also had to do with it, considering that, you know, any given moment I've been home the past 3 days, I've been playing that video game.
Yeah.
So bad timing on that, but yeah, Agree.
See, I thought so. I was not looking forward to the Derby because A, I agree with you. I don't think the lineup was very good at all. And B, I'm like, they changed the format on what was already something that worked.
Yeah.
So,
I thought it worked too. I don't.
but I ended up liking the new rules.
No, listen, it's not a drastic change from what there was. I
No.
just didn't like I didn't think it was very necessary. I thought it still worked, but I was just like, all right, like people are making a big deal out of it. I'm like, it's still kind of similar to what it used to be. You're gonna have a lot of swings and fast pace and the timer and all that stuff and the bonuses and whatnot. Um, I gotta say though, like as much as sometimes we crap on baseball where it's behind compared to other sports, the one thing they do have is that their all-star game is by far the best out of I'm not gonna count hockey, out of basketball and football, and they got the
Yeah.
best all-star game, like by far.
Yeah, they do. They have. But that Jersey thing, man, it killed me. I could not even turn the
Yeah.
game on. I
Yeah.
couldn't turn the game on. I
It
also played
was
pickleball.
I don't think it was that bad
I
that you
also
couldn't.
played pickleball though.
Yeah. It wasn't like Jets Bills Thursday Night Football color rush Christmas tree colors bad. That was bad.
Yeah,
Or the
that's
cut when colorblind people couldn't watch the game because they didn't
right.
know what team was who.
Right. That was when the NFL really couldn't figure out the jersey thing, which
Yeah.
is kind of a first for them. Yeah, that's nuts. All right, JM, before we talk a little football, because definitely need to talk some football, going to give you some surprise teams we think are going to disappoint, teams we think are going to surprise you in a good way. I have a couple right off the bat that I can't wait to talk about. We'll see what you think. But we're going to talk about this top 100 list that ESPN came out that you alerted me to a little while ago. Top 100 professional athletes since 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting list. Michael Phelps leads the way at number 1. Serena Williams 2. Messi's the first guy at number 3 on a team sport. And LeBron James, the greatest basketball player of all time, is 4. And then the greatest football player of all time is 5. Let's get our thoughts here.
Okay, I have a lot of gripes with this list. First of all, if you read the entire list, right? There's not much like criteria we're going off of here. Like it wasn't well explained. The guy who wrote it, like to me, a list like this, you got to pull together all the experts from all the sports, collaborate on it, and pump out a list. Not like one guy does it, and we're going to assume that this guy has common knowledge of all the sports. I believe this guy's a baseball writer. And the funny part is the highest baseball player on this list is 24th, which is Albert Pujols. Absolute insanity. Anyways, my biggest gripe with the whole thing is that, like I said, the criteria. You have Michael Phelps at number 1. Michael Phelps is a great athlete. Unfortunately, nobody really cares about swimming. But when it comes to the Olympics, Michael Phelps is a superstar. Like, we remember him from the Tokyo Games, from Beijing. Like, I got that right? No, London in 2012 and Beijing in 2008. Killed it, right? You can't have a swimmer number 1 and then no other swimmers from 2 to 100. It makes no sense to me. It's the same thing like Tiger Woods. To me, I think Tiger Woods should be in the top 5 on this list, honestly. Like, he is probably the undisputed GOAT of golf. And I don't even know where the next golfer is. You have Phil Mickelson, and like, it's just a mosh of like guessing. Like, yeah, sure. So Michael Phelps is good enough to be number 1, but no other swimmer is within the top 100. It's just, let's slap together a list is what I got from this.
Hold on.
Hold on.
This is not meant to be disrespectful to the WNBA and those players over there. They're going up right now. Give them credit, okay? But JM, Ajay Wilson, okay?
Yeah.
She is she's the best WNBA player in the league, I think, right now, okay?
Yep.
She won the NCAA championship in 2017, okay? She was in college 7 years ago, and she is ranked higher than 4-time NFL MVP award winner Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. Yep.
Are
No,
you
this is
kidding
this is
me?
this is the stuff that kills me with these stupid narratives. So let me get this straight. I have to scroll back up because I forgot where Peyton Manning. I believe Peyton Manning is 26th. Let me just double check on that. Yes. Okay. So Peyton Manning is 26th on this list. Aaron Rodgers is 91st. Keep in mind now, there is no difference. If anything, Peyton Manning actually loses a little bit because I believe he was drafted in 99, so he loses a year. But they both played their entire career in the 2000s. It's not like, oh, well, this guy's old. No, their whole careers are in it, right? So we're comparing career to career here. Peyton Manning was known throughout his career as being a very talented, very good regular season quarterback, put up the big numbers, broke the records. He just couldn't really get it done. He couldn't get past Brady, couldn't get past Roethlisberger, he couldn't get past all those guys. He got one ring in Indianapolis, okay? He beat the Bears in 2007. Then he goes to the Broncos, breaks records, has the best regular season we've ever seen, loses in the Super Bowl, gets embarrassed in the Super Bowl by Russell Wilson, then wins the Super Bowl in his last year, the last year of his career, when he had more interceptions than picks, than touchdowns thrown, I believe. He was terrible. Like, we all remember, he was awful that last year. It just so happened to be that he played on like the greatest defense we've seen in 30 freaking years. So let's now compare that to Aaron Rodgers and not take politics or any of that stuff into account. A 4-time MVP throughout his career has had the criticism that he hasn't been able to get it done. He got one ring and he didn't get that second stupid defensive ring like Peyton Manning got. So that is what's going to separate 70 spots between Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning. It is absolute. The narratives and the stupid politic BS is insane.
I'm going through some of these players, these athletes, ahead of Aaron Rodgers, and I'm laughing.
It's absurd.
Listen, I love Mookie Betts. Gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he continues. Bryce Harper, same thing. James Harden. You could argue James Harden is literally Aaron Rodgers in the NBA. Like, big mouth, some off the field distractions.
Yep.
Doesn't come up big in the playoffs, but is an unbelievable regular season player. The guy has 4 MVP awards and plays the most important position in sports, and he's 91st.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
Rings, bro. It's because of the rings. But we could put J.J. Watt, a guy who's not even in the conversation of being the best defensive player in NFL history and has never won a meaningful playoff game in his life. We could put him 58 because he's cool and jacked. But Aaron Rodgers, 91, bro, because, COVID and, you do ayahuasca and all that stuff. 91.
Listen, I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if you know me, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but this is unbelievable. Yep. This is nuts.
Yep. Absurd. The baseball ones to me too. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this guy's a baseball writer. I mean, retire right now, bro, because I understand that Barry Bonds was like 30 something years old in the year 2000. Bro, he won 4 MVPs in the 2000s and hit 73 home runs in a season. He had the best hitting season we've ever seen. Granted, he was roided up, but he had the best regular season we've ever seen out of a hitter, probably in the entire sport. And he's one spot behind Ichiro.
Yeah. I mean, Mahomes is 18th. I still can't get over the Rodgers thing. Mahomes is 18th. You can argue whether or not you take Mahomes right now over Rodgers, even, legacy-wise. Mahomes is definitely getting up there. I think he's a top 5 quarterback at this point. But, they are literally 70 spots away. Over 70 spots away. Mm-hmm. That's unreal.
They just... you know what? I'm going to capitalize on it right now because this is, I think, the one and only chance I'm going to have to talk about NASCAR on this show.
Oh, God.
You have Jimmy Johnson at 47.
This
guy is the only the most championships in NASCAR history are 7 of them, okay? Mm-hmm. You got Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmy Johnson. Those are the 3 guys who have ever won 7 championships. Nobody has ever won 5 in a row except Jimmy Johnson. But we're going to put, so he's the GOAT of NASCAR, in my opinion. We're going to put him 47, the only NASCAR driver in the entire list. And let's put 2 F1 drivers ahead of him in Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher, 20 spots. There's just zero criteria. It's like, yeah, you know what? I think he fits in right there. I like the way the number 47 looks next to his name. I don't have any justification for it, but I like the way it looks. We're just gonna throw him in right there.
It's a terrible list.
It's really bad, man. It's really bad.
And
you know what?
I
think we're falling to. We're giving in to what they want. I think this is what they want. They're like, let's just put out the worst list we can and have people engage with it, and that's it.
You think they wanted to be embarrassed by themselves?
Mm-hmm. I was surprised they put Brady 5, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to be 1.
Yeah, I mean, him and LeBron, take your pick at who should be 1.
Yep.
How about Ohtani a little bit higher? I mean, the guy is the closest thing we've seen to Babe effing Ruth.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. 62. I mean, the only thing is he's still very young, so like I get, but like he's got the. Oh, I didn't even mention. I'm sorry, Aaron Judge not on the list. I think is a little crazy.
Yeah,
he's already got the MVP. He really should have 2 MVPs. He's on track right now to maybe get another MVP. AL home run king. I mean, AL rookie home run record. Like we're talking about him as one of the greatest right-handed hitters of all time, the greatest hitter of this generation right now. Like he can't crack 9. He can't put him 99. Like you can't do that.
I just want to compare Betts and Harper to him for a second, who are easily on this list.
Yeah,
I feel like Betts should be on. I feel like Betts
100%.
Betts should be on the list, but it's very close. I mean, they're different players, but the WAR numbers are similar.
I can't believe.
I mean, excuse me, Betts has a much higher WAR.
Rogers being 1 spot ahead of Pedro is crazy. Like Pedro is one of the best pitchers of all time, but a lot of it was done in the 90s. 1 spot ahead of Pedro.
So Harper being on this list and Judge not being on this list is a major issue.
Mm-hmm.
Judge came up 2016. His first full season was 2017. We have Harper's first full season. That's 2012.
Mm-hmm.
In their entire career, Harper has a 50 BWAR. Judge has a 47.8. Judge has 291 home runs. Harper has 321. The OPS numbers, Judge crushes him. Career 996 OPS, 168 OPS plus. Harper 916 career OPS, 144 OPS plus. So you have Harper on this list.
What am I missing?
And you don't have Judge, who's played 5 less seasons than this guy and is pretty much better at every statistical category.
I was about to say, we're basically saying Judge is better, and I was about to say, well, all right, fine. If you want to say Harper's better just because he's played longer, then put Judge a couple spots below him. Not on the list, and Harper's in the top 75, whatever he is.
Yeah,
it's rage bait. They got us. It worked.
I've had enough of this list.
They sent this to the senior editor, and the guy was like, you know what? It's so bad, it's good. You're like, we're rolling it out.
Enough of that list. What a disgusting job by ESPN. And you know what's funny? I can't even see who the writer is. Like, it's not even at the top of the. It's not at the top of the article, unless I'm going crazy. It's not even at the top of the article, and then it's not at the bottom where it says it should be. Like, go to the top.
ESPN.
It just says ESPN. So they actually took this guy's name off the article.
No, David Schoenfield.
Okay, so he is a baseball writer.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you find that?
If you scroll, right above Michael Phelps's name, it's the last sentence.
There we go. There he is, senior writer. Yeah.
Well, he was a senior writer. He was like, oh, I don't need anybody to
They
approve it.
should demote him to They should demote him
Yeah.
to junior writer or
Nah, I feel like
junior
I think at that company, the worse you do, the better you are. So
junior list writer.
yeah,
You see, Skip Bayless is out at FS1.
I did.
Undisputed, the worst show of
I
all
don't
time.
know. I don't know. Like, I know a lot of times in sports talk, they say that, these hosts, they do this stuff on purpose to spark conversation and draw attention, like these bad takes. But at the same time, I've never sat down and watched Undisputed in the last 7 years. So I don't know if it's going to help or make it worse, but I don't know where they stand right now with ratings. But
they're terrible.
Yeah. Can't imagine they're good.
Did you see that there was like this idea floated around that Skip Bayless should go back to ESPN and go with Stephen A. Smith and like be a guest debater?
And didn't ESPN turn him down?
I thought they said they're not. They said they're not interested.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they like each other. Like actually, like
no,
in real,
definitely don't. They definitely don't.
Definitely.
That'd also be not entertaining. No, I think it would be the first couple of times. Like they should have him on like once, like a reunion show. That would be hysterical.
Yes,
and have Shannon there too.
Exactly. I think that ship has sailed a bit.
Yeah, like a one-time show. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, JM. Let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about right now. That's football.
Yes.
Let's start
here.
Let's start here. I have this I guess issue with the rest of the football world, and I guess the fans really.
Okay.
I have this issue with just like throwing out the Buffalo Bills and like not thinking they're going to be dominant again.
Okay.
I have so much faith in Josh Allen. I have so much faith that when we saw Patrick Mahomes lose these wide receivers, they won 2 Super Bowls, and you saw his talent take over at times. Yeah, there were some struggles, but his talent take over in the biggest moments and develop some decent wide receivers, right? Rashee Rice has turned into a nice player for them. I just think like they have enough talent on offense where losing Stephon Diggs and losing Gabe Davis, they're not going to miss a step on offense. I think, JM, there's a chance offensively they're more efficient than they were last season this year.
I'm gonna have to hardly disagree with you here. And I'm not trying to be Jets AFC East bias here. I think that there's a difference. I think we got to be a little logical when we're talking about the Mahomes situation versus the Allen situation. Number one, I think we could all agree that Mahomes is kind of in his own little tier at the top.
I would agree with that.
Number two, we're talking just solely on the offensive end of the ball right now. The defense has lost a couple key pieces, right? No more Tre'Davious White. Poyer's gone, and Micah Hyde is gone. So those are some staples of that defense that aren't there anymore. And obviously, they're all secondary pieces that I just said. To me, like Allen has always been that offense. Like, I don't think that's a shock to say that. We know the struggles they had last year. Actually, that's a guy we might talk about them later. That's Stephon Diggs is kind of a guy I'm interested to see what kind of season he has because he seemed like he kind of took a little step back last year, and he's starting to kind of get in that age range of like, so where we see some of these earlier fall offs from these receivers. So we'll see about that. We know about the inefficiency issues with Gabe Davis. So I could totally understand if there's a bit of a new look offense here. I think we're going to see some things we haven't seen out of Buffalo in the past, right? I mean, we know about Keon Coleman's one of those guys, a big betting favorite for the AFC, offensive player of the year. He's going to be one of those big fantasy guys, right? They got Curtis Samuel. They got Chase Claypool. That receiving room, missing. Oh, they still have Shakir. They got MVS. They got some interesting guys in that receiving room. So they got some experience. I don't know if I could go to the extent to say like, oh, that gets me really excited though, because I don't think they have the talent like everywhere else to kind of make up for it. Like when we were talking about Mahomes and the Chiefs last year, like I said, Mahomes is a bit in a league of his own where he could carry that team, and they've won in the past. Like we've seen them do it in the past. We haven't seen the Bills do it in the past. And I think that Chiefs defense last year is better than this Bills defense this year.
We didn't mention one guy. I
Offense or
think
defense?
offense. I'll talk about defense in a second. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be a top 3 regular season tight end this year. Top 3 tight end in this league.
Yeah, he should be due for a pretty monster year.
He is going to be and obviously you understand what I'm saying. It's exaggerated, but the Travis Kelce of this offense will be the number 1 option
right
in this offense.
Right.
On offense,
it's
receiving
just,
wise.
listen, it's a very, very crucial season for the Buffalo Bills. It's a crucial season for Allen. I think especially at the top of the list, it's a crucial season for McDermott.
100%.
I think if this team goes as far to miss the playoffs, he's out.
Yeah.
It's tough because we thought, they've had that championship window and they couldn't get past Kansas City. Now's the season to see, has that window closed or were we wrong? As long as 17 is the quarterback, they have a chance. And it's not like that. Listen, it's not like the roster is terrible. Like that's not what we're saying here. But it's a new look. There's still talent there, but it's a new look. I think they're going to have to play a little differently. We'll see how they do.
Yeah, I mean, I still like the linebacking core. I know they lost some guys in the secondary, 100%. They replaced a couple of them, obviously not to the talent level like Taylor Rapp's here. They lost Hyde, they lost Poyer. I still like the front 7. The offensive line, they've been average forever now. I don't really see that changing. Just a middle of the pack offensive line. They have James Cook. Hope he should take another step and really alleviate some of the pressure off of Josh Allen, actually having a running game that doesn't revolve around Josh Allen.
Right.
Which should help.
Well, to me, Coleman is interesting because, like I said, there's a lot of hype around him. Anytime you put a young, high draft pick receiver into an offense with an elite quarterback, that's an offense that's lacking receivers, we're going to get really excited about it and say, all right, this guy's full potential. He's going to hit it. He's got a great quarterback, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if the plan for Coleman is to be like, you're not replacing Stephon Diggs. Obviously, you can't replace him with a lot of people, but you're not replacing him with Coleman. To me, you're more replacing Gabe Davis with Coleman because of the play style. Like, Coleman's a big body receiver. He's not a burner, but he's a big body, a guy that, is a vertical receiver. You could be a vertical receiver, not be a burner. That's kind of what Coleman is, kind of like a Michael Thomas type too, where he could box out in short yardage sort of a thing. I just don't know if he'll be able to have that route running ability to make up for a Stephon Diggs. Like, that's what Diggs was known for the best, was his route running and just getting open. That's where I think a guy like maybe Shakir or Samuel, like, I don't know who the guy is going to be to make up for that. So I'm really interested to see the way that this offense flows now and how Allen sort of plays that backyard ball that we know he's good at playing, and that gunslinger that we know gets him in trouble sometimes, but also makes him the player he is. I wonder if they're going to have to sort of have him adjust his style of play because of the weapons he has.
Be interesting to see.
It is.
I think they're going to win the division. I think the division.
I hate that idea, Michael. I think that's terrible. I think that's a terrible idea.
It's going to be tight. They're going to bang up on each other. Pause. I just think like that's what it's going to be. Teams beating each other up, where the winner of the division is 11-6, whether it's the Jets or
it's going to be I mean,
Dolphins
listen,
or the Bills.
I'm actually very surprised. I have not seen a lot of people high on the Dolphins. I've seen a lot of criticism towards the Dolphins. I think it's because everybody's kind of last year going into it. There weren't like, I was hating on them big time, and there weren't these huge expectations, but there was that like, oh, this could go very well with these weapons and the whole thing. Now, I think we already lived that, and now people are like disgusted with the way Tua played and the way things went. and now we're off the Dolphins.
So, we all know last season, and that was a big storyline with us. I mean, we would go back and forth.
Yeah.
You didn't like the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins a lot, especially early. And the fear, I think, even I could have had in the back of my head was, well, Miami, when they're playing in cold weather late in December and January, it might be tough for them to win. And that's exactly what we saw, especially in the playoffs. So as the season went on and the weather got colder in some road games, and then obviously they played that just historically freezing game in Kansas City. It's like, and maybe that's not a good example, but when the wind is 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, and you got a quarterback who I like, by the way, and think they should pay. When you have a quarterback that doesn't have the strongest arm in the world and relies on throwing the ball deep to his weapons, it's tough late in the year.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people that are disgusted by their play late in the year. And I'll tell you another team that I will never pick again. I will never pick Baltimore again. Baltimore was my team to win the AFC last year. I ended up switching. I had the Chiefs in that AFC. What?
I said you're running out of options here.
It's two teams. It's Kansas City or Buffalo for me. That's it. It's Kansas City or Buffalo.
See that? I don't get that take.
It's Kansas City or Buffalo.
I feel like, how can you not mention Houston? How can you not mention the Jets? How can you not mention even Cincinnati might have some juice now? Cleveland looks pretty nice. Like, I think the AFC has a lot of intriguing teams this year.
If I had to give you a third team, I'd give you the Jets.
Okay.
The Jets would be my third team.
Appreciate it.
Houston's too young. I think Houston might be still a little too young.
Yeah. They are very young, but we're not talking about like the Oklahoma City Thunder here, where it's just this really good team, but they've got no experience. Like, they did get the experience of the playoffs last year. They won a playoff game against a really good Browns team and a team that had a lot of momentum going into that game.
And they were close. And did they play a close game in Baltimore?
They did. They did play a close game in Baltimore. I think it slipped away from them late. I'm trying to go off the top of my head right now. But I feel like Houston's got to be respected. And listen, I know Baltimore, it was rough, but you can't count them out. That's a very tough team year. I will
count them out. Listen,
I'm not seeing Buffalo anywhere near. To be honest with you, if I had to rate just off the top of my head, like the three biggest threats to the Chiefs, I don't think I'd put Buffalo in those three. Maybe they'd be third.
But how can you put Baltimore how can you put Baltimore in that? Is Baltimore in that three?
Yes. What are you judging this off of right now? Just because of the way things went last year, and you're kind of like, I'm done with them?
I'm done with them. I don't trust them.
Who'd they lose? What's his face? Patrick Queen? Like, they didn't lose a ton of talent here. They lost Odell. Like,
I don't care about what they lost. It's year in and year out. They are, when it gets to postseason time, they don't play that postseason style of football. I know the defense is really good.
All right. Doesn't the same thing apply to the Bills? If not worse?
No, because Buffalo's had success.
Kansas City beat the crap out of them every time they play.
Yeah, but these are good, tough games. These are games you could say could go either way.
You're telling me Baltimore, Kansas City last year wasn't a tough game? That wasn't decided on the last possession of the game?
It was a tough game, JM, but I think we all felt, at least I felt, I had Kansas City that day, and when I gamble, I get nervous. I was not nervous for a second when Kansas City had a lead. I just had this feeling that there was no way Lamar was going to make a big play late in that game and win. And they did it. Did they improve that receiving room? I mean, what did they do with that receiving room?
Listen, they're going up against, we're ignoring the fact that they're going up against the dynasty here. We're to the Bills, the Ravens, whoever. The only team that's been able to do it is Cincinnati. And I think they're going to, Cincinnati needs to be well respected this year. They should be back in a big way this year. This
as long as the quarterback's healthy, yeah.
This is like their last run, it seems like, to keep that core together that they've won with in the past that went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, Mixon's gone. There's some little pieces that aren't there anymore. But we're talking about Buffalo and Baltimore here. They've both done the same thing over the past couple of years. If anything, Buffalo's been worse. Like I said, we know about what happened when they lost at home to Cincinnati as well 2 years ago. Like,
But how is it worse? Like they play that historic game 3 years ago
they're
against
losing
Kansas City.
regardless. Like, to me, I'm just looking at it objectively. Like, Baltimore is the better roster. They both haven't been able to get it done against Kansas City. Buffalo's had more opportunities and still hasn't been able to do it. I'm just looking at these rosters here and who going into 2024 is set up better, and I think it's Baltimore by a mile. Um, I'm going to stick with Baltimore as one of the bigger threats to them. And like I said, the three, I'm going to take Baltimore. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I am going to take Cincinnati over Buffalo as a threat to them. And then that third spot is a toss-up between the Jets, between maybe the Texans, and between Buffalo. And I want to throw Cleveland into the mix too, because I think they're going to be really good.
Like, all right, I'm with you. Like on paper, like yeah,
Not
I can't
really
argue.
I'm not big on Watson, but
I can't argue. Like on paper, Baltimore's better. Yeah, Baltimore's better on paper than Buffalo, but I'm looking at it like the best player on both teams is number 17, and he plays for the Bills.
yeah, but that hasn't gotten them anywhere. You know what I mean?
But it
Like,
hasn't. But okay, a loaded roster, like absolutely no doubt about it. Top 3 roster in football last season didn't get Baltimore
no,
anywhere
but I'm
either.
saying you're saying that, but this is the worst roster that Allen has had, and he hasn't been able to get it done with those previous rosters. I don't see why this team would be the one to do it. And I know if that didn't happen last year, if Kansas City didn't defy the odds and shut up all the people that were saying this team is going to take a step back this year and this and that, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right
I
now. That
like
is
the
only
comparison. I do enjoy that comparison.
That's the only reason we're talking about this.
And
If that didn't happen, we're talking about Buffalo's going to be in trouble. They lost a lot. This
I
offense is
don't
going to
know.
be sketchy.
I
Allen with
still
the
think
turnover problems. He's going to have to do more. He's going to turn it over more often. We're having that conversation.
I've seen a couple of people in the national media defending Allen this week, and any person that is slandering Josh Allen's play is out of their goddamn minds. He's the second best player in the entire sport.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to hear it. And yes, there's a gap. Mahomes is in his own league. I'm not denying that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Allen is somewhat close to that. I think Allen's in his own league as number 2.
No.
Lamar, definitely not.
No.
Lamar
What do you
is
mean definitely? The guy just won the MVP.
The worst MVP of all time is Lamar Jackson in 2023.
All right. We know that wasn't the best MVP season ever.
One of the worst ever.
It wasn't. He still played very well last year. Okay?
He was a good player. Don't give me he won the MVP last season.
I don't agree with Allen being in his own second tier. I don't like that.
Who would you put in that second tier? At least right now. Because I can get there on Jordan Love one day in a year or two. I can get there on Stroud next year. I'm not putting Burrow in
Why not?
category because the injuries are a problem now. The injuries are a serious problem with him.
I guess you're kind of out of options at that point. I mean, Herbert is, I don't even know what we're going to, like,
Herbert can get
Herbert
there.
just hasn't been able to get it done. Like, we know Herbert talent-wise is there, but I can't put him in that tier anymore. I would put Lamar and Allen in the same second tier.
I can't put Lamar. I can't do it.
I don't get that.
I can't do it.
Really
Allen was better than Lamar last year. I'll die on that hill.
I don't get that.
Josh
and to be
Allen
honest with
better.
you, you're not going to like this, but I think we get really caught up in, like I said, narratives and, what teams they play for and how they've lost and this and that. We got to start throwing Dak's name into some of these conversations after the season he had last year. And give me what an embarrassing loss to Green Bay and this and that. Josh Allen's had some pretty bad losses over his career too. So I'm not saying Dak should be in that same tier as Josh Allen, but I think when we're talking about top 10 quarterback, anybody I think that says that Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback in the league, I think that you shouldn't be allowed to speak about football anymore. I think that's
Yeah,
crazy. I think that's
he
absolutely insane.
he is, and there's a chance he hits the open market at the end of this year, which I'm fascinated by if he
Oh, I would
actually
love to see
does.
that.
And it wouldn't even be like, oh, he's not good enough for Dallas. It might just be like a reset for Dallas,
Right.
where they have just too many players
Too
and
many
they
people
want
to
to.
pay and
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But yeah, he's in the top 10.
yeah.
He's in the top 10. I'm excited to see what Herbert. Um, I'm excited to see what Herbert does
It's funny.
with Harbaugh.
Yeah, with the run style, who knows? That it seems like they're gonna run the crap out of the ball. It's really funny because I feel like last year going into the NFL season, it's kind of like we had too many good quarterbacks. It was like this guy's top five. No, this guy's top. Like there's only so many top five quarterbacks you can have. Now I feel like going into this season, it's like who are the good quarterbacks in the league? You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of
Yeah,
guys, people got hurt, people had down years. It's what happens.
it's fascinating. Jam, let's talk about some teams we are excited about. Early, like very preliminary talks on teams that were higher on than maybe some aren't, and then some disappointments. Who do we think? We'll go two each on each of them.
Well, you know what? I'm not even going to give you a team I'm high on. I kind of want to just open the conversation because I'm not sure on what I expect them to be, and I want your opinion. And they don't even have that great of expectations. I just have so many questions about this team. What are the Minnesota Vikings going to be in 2024? Because I can't tell if they're going to be a 3, 4, maybe 5 win team, or if this team should make some noise to make the playoffs.
I had one of our buddies at the bar yesterday, decent gambler, called to me and told me he likes the Vikings a lot next
Yeah,
year, that they're being
I bet.
slept on in
I
that
think I know
division. And
yeah.
I can't get there on the Vikings. Like I know the offensive line's good, they have weapons. The defense is I don't think the defense is elite, but the defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
What are they, a 7-win team with, hamstrung by a bad
It's just
quarterback?
it's really I'm really excited to watch Darnold. I really am. I wanna see how
You
he
think Darnold
plays
could
with a
shock
real
people?
offense around him. I respect the hell out of O'Connell as a coach.
So do I.
They brought in Aaron Jones. Justin Jefferson is still the best receiver in the league. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with Jordan Addison. Guy's losing his mind, I think. But it's I don't know why they're the first team that popped into my mind, but as soon as we decided this is what we are going to talk about, they were because I haven't heard them talked about a lot, and I'm like, what are we expecting out of this team?
So I think they're playing in a very underrated division. A lot of people want to say the AFC North is going to be the best division this year. I think there's a chance the NFC North is better.
Mm.
Because I think you have two juggernauts at the top with Detroit and Green Bay.
Ooh, that's a big
Chicago,
word. That's a big word.
two of the best teams in the NFC.
Okay.
The top three, like they obviously can't be the top three seeds, but when we are talking about the top three teams in the NFC going into the postseason, we are going to be talking about obviously San Francisco, God willing, everybody's healthy. And then we're going to be debating, oh, who's better, Green Bay or Detroit? And then the next team is number 3.
Okay.
Those two teams will be better than Philadelphia.
Okay.
Maybe not record wise, but we'll say, oh, that's a better team.
Week 1 Friday night game in Brazil or whatever. That's a big game for you now. We're talking about playoff seeding implications down the road starting in
Yes.
week 1 with Green Bay and Philly.
Yeah, Green Bay's gonna win that game.
Yeah. I think what are they 1.5 point dogs or something like that?
Yeah. I like Green Bay there. Let's talk about Philadelphia for a second. They're weird. I don't know what Philadelphia is this year.
Yeah. They are really weird.
They are very strange.
They limped into the postseason last year, and we know what happened when they played Tampa. Bad. I don't know. I mean, obviously, you have this sort of revamped offense with Saquon. I shouldn't say revamped. It's not like it was a terrible offense, but they did have like an identity issue at the end of the year, and we talked about the awful play calling and how the running all the freaking screen passes, and Hurts started having some turnover issues, and they kind of just lost their offensive flow. And now you bring in Saquon, and you think of a two-headed attack with Jalen Hurts being one of the better running quarterbacks in the league, and Saquon being one of the best running backs. And obviously, we know where Saquon came from and that whole story. They need a new identity on both sides of the ball. They brought in Kellen Moore. They brought in Vic Fangio. We'll see how that works out. I don't know, Mike.
And how good are they defensively? How good is this team defensively? Like, what is Slay at this point? I know they added the 2 corners in the draft. Like, what are they defensively?
I was going to say, we know the front 7 has been great. They lost Reddick. They bring in Bryce Huff. That could be an upgrade, could be a push, could be a downgrade.
I don't know if that's an upgrade.
I don't know what Huff is going to become. We know how great he was with the Jets, and he never really became, actually great. It was more of a look at this little hidden gem. Like he made an impact on the Jets defense. I'm not saying he didn't, but he was more of that. Oh, look at his rush win rates and all that stuff, advanced stats and blah, blah, blah. All right, now let's see if he could actually be an effective 3-down edge rusher. I don't know. The secondary, it has plenty of question marks. Could they bring in Cooper DeJean? They bring in, what's the corner they drafted?
Quinyon Mitchell.
Quinyon Mitchell, they bring him in. CJ Gardner-Johnson's back. I would not want to touch them betting anything going into the season. I feel like I can't get a proper feel for them. I'd
bet them to win the division because I'm not high on Dallas this year as I was last. They also disappointed me. So I don't think Dallas is winning that division. I obviously don't think the Giants are winning that division. I don't buy the Washington hype that some people are throwing around. Do you see this Washington hype? Like the national TV analysts are talking about Washington, and they're getting like these reports from camp of how great Jaden Daniels looks and how great the offense looks. Yeah, roll the eyes. Exactly. I'm not buying.
I'm so done with the training camp stories and the highlights and this team looks good. No, we're not doing that again. That last year was like propaganda to the fullest degree. We're not doing it anymore.
You want to hear a team I like this year? A little over on the win totals. I got 2.
Let her rip.
I like the Arizona Cardinals this year. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to surprise some people.
Okay.
Kyler Murray's got his wide receiver number 1. We saw Michael Wilson play well down the stretch last year. They got some guys in that receiving room. I think offensively they're going to be improved. I think I can't believe I'm saying this. I think Jonathan Gannon's going to be a good coach in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have stability now within that organization for the first time in a while. I think the Cardinals can shock some people.
I don't hate that. I don't hate it at all. I think Kyler Murray's career has been really interesting to this point. We kind of still don't have an answer on him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's been in the league for over 5 years. But we're still kind of guessing, like, sometimes he looks like elite, and other times we're like, should the Cardinals move on? I'm always been on the believer side of him, thinking that it's going to work out. And I think this is going to be a big year for him. Like you said, he finally got his number 1 receiver. We're talking about young tight ends. Trey McBride was great for them last year. He could be due for another really good season. I agree. I think Gannon's great. I'm not saying they're going to come out here and win the division, but
no, not at all.
They can make some noise. I mean, who would we view as locks? And I can't believe we're getting this far into football today, but honestly, it's a breath of fresh air because I miss talking about football. Who would we view as locks for the NFC playoffs? I would say San Francisco.
Agreed.
Detroit.
Agreed.
And Green Bay. Is that it? And do we throw in Philly?
I think you have to throw Atlanta in there. I think they're a lock.
I don't know if Atlanta's a lock. I'm not going to say Atlanta's a lock. Listen,
but you need a team from that division.
Why not? Why are we ignoring Tampa Bay?
I think Tampa Bay is going to take a step back.
I 100%. I make the joke all the time. We're not getting 99th percentile Baker Mayfield again.
Yeah.
But they did just win the division, and I don't think Atlanta deserves the respect to say they're no doubt going to take the division this year and be better than Tampa, and they're a lock to make the playoffs.
Just because it's a weak
Don't see that.
division, like I'm ready to go there.
Yeah, but I feel like we were like that with New Orleans last year.
I wasn't.
I wasn't no, but like I feel like that was the buzz around the division, and I don't think me and you are Derek Carr advocates at all.
Like
But
Kirk
like,
Cousins is not Derek Carr
no,
going into
I
last year
know,
to this year.
but I'm saying like it was like, all right, Bryce Young, Desmond Ritter, or Baker Mayfield are gonna win the division. Like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
Saints should be the team to do it here. I had Tampa Bay winning like 3 games last year. I had them as one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Oh, you had Atlanta. I think I did have the Saints last year, but like
I had Atlanta because I hate Derek Carr, so I was like, yeah, give me Atlanta. I can't just. You got a new head coach, you got a new quarterback, could be
all right,
good.
fine.
I'm not gonna say they're a lock. Would I bet them to win the division? You bet. I'm not gonna say they're a lock. But anyways,
so you have San Francisco,
but like
Green Bay, Detroit.
Right. And then you just have a bunch of good teams that could be, like it's up for grabs, right? Because Dallas or Philly could win that division. And then the team that doesn't win it, I think, has a chance to miss the playoffs. We talked about how great the NFC North is. And now you got 3 or maybe 4 teams in the NFC West that could compete for a wild card.
I really like the Rams.
Yeah. I want to count the Rams out.
I'm almost at the point where I would say I would lock the Rams into a wild card spot.
Okay. I mean, the elephant in the room, obviously Aaron Donald's gone.
Yeah, but
we'll see what happens to that defense now.
I think the defense is still going to be really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think one guy, granted, he's probably the best defensive player we've seen in the last 10, 15 years. I don't know. I'm not big on Seattle at all.
No, I think Seattle's going to come in last. That I don't know if that's a hot take or not.
Okay.
I think Seattle comes in last.
We're really bouncing around here, but
yeah.
What do you make of Carolina? They were terrible last year, but now I'm starting to see people actually get on the hype train for Bryce Young this year to have a nice sophomore season.
Well, I was a Bryce Young guy.
I know you were.
So I should have confidence in my guy, but I don't know. They're obviously going to be better. Mm-hmm. Do they come in last? Maybe. I don't know. I don't like the Saints. I'm out on the Saints. So maybe, the Saints and the Panthers are right there battling it out for last place.
There's going to be a surprise team, no doubt.
There's going to be an improvement. Yeah. Who do you think that surprise team can be? Are you saying it's Carolina?
What are we considering? No. What are we considering a surprise team? Like, I would have to look at the odds to make the playoffs.
Team that didn't make the playoffs last year. I think team that didn't make the playoffs last year is fair enough because we know about the turnover that you have every year.
I could say we're not going to count Atlanta for this because Atlanta didn't make the playoffs. They had a drastic change. Yeah. I also could say Chicago. It's kind of
you're not going to be chalky. All right.
Honestly, I'd probably say Arizona.
Okay. I think I would lean Arizona.
If not them, I don't want to say Minnesota. I really don't want to say Minnesota.
But they're a good pick for that. Like I don't think they are either. Like I would go Arizona, but they are the pick for that.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple people say the Giants, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't think it's the Giants.
Okay. The one thing that I think the Giants have to look forward to, though, is if they get it right and don't have a giant, stupid, like, what the hell kind of football am I watching season, I think Neighbors could run away with the offensive rookie of the year. He could be, I shouldn't say run away. There's a lot of, obviously, Marvin Harrison. There's a lot of really good rookies this year. But you could be looking at a 1,200 yard season out of this guy.
No, I think you're. I don't want to like blow this out of proportion here, but like I think you're looking at the next Chase Jefferson guy at LSU.
I don't know if he could get to that point because with Chase and Jefferson, you had Joe Burrow and you had Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones isn't going to throw for 42, 43, 4,400 yards.
No, I'm not saying this season. I'm just saying in general. Like I think you have
in
that
terms of talent.
Yeah,
sure. I think more of a Garrett Wilson sort of start for Malik Neighbors is more realistic.
I actually compared him to Garrett Wilson yesterday. I compared it to Garrett Wilson yesterday.
Yeah.
But I think the talent level is on those guys. And I think Wilson is his trajectory is those level of talent, and I think Neighbors is going to be up there as well. Right. Giants have a good front seven, though. I'm not saying the Giants are going to be that surprise team, but Giants have really good front seven. Really good front seven.
We're talking about divisions in football and who's going to be the best. Honestly, looking at it, NFC East might be one of the worst.
It could be.
I don't know what to expect out of those top two teams. Like I said, Philly is just kind of all over the place. This team could win 13 games next year. I could also see them winning 9. Like, I don't know what to expect out of them. And Dallas, I think in the past 5 years out of contending teams has had probably the weirdest offseason we've seen. So
I'm not high on either of them. Yeah. I think it's going to be like a default. Oh, they won the division.
Yeah.
We're going back to the NFC being a bad division.
Who's the worst? What's the worst division in football?
Not the AFC South, that's for sure.
It's the NFC South. It's the NFC South again.
I said AFC. Yeah, it's the NFC South. But then give me all right.
AFC West out of here. AFC West is not far behind with Raiders and Broncos and what is to expect out of the Chargers. And then obviously you have the saviors of that division being the Chiefs.
I feel like this is the easiest comparison in the world for the Chargers. The Chargers roster is completely depleted. Okay. So what you're going to see this year is oh my God, Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the league. And that team is not as bad as you thought they should be on paper. And we're going to go into 2025. Oh, that's a Super Bowl team.
Right.
When they make their improvements and more draft picks. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
They're a 7-10, 8-9 team this year. And they're going to look good doing it. And then you'll say, wow, that team's going to improve with cap space and draft picks.
I don't hate that. You know what I think has worst team in the NFL potential?
Oh, God.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
I think that team is going to be terrible.
Can we talk about JM? Why are we talking about Devontae Adams getting traded? Because we watched the receiver show,
exactly,
and we saw he was
disgruntled. Somebody said it
a year ago.
I don't know. And then you see, like, this is the problem with social media too, because then I go on Twitter and I see, oh, the Raiders are reportedly looking for a first-round pick in exchange for Devontae Adams from the Jets, and should the Jets make the trade? Like, where is this coming from right now? Like, these GMs are probably, and we're going to look really stupid if a trade does happen, but these GMs are probably sitting in their office, like, reading these headlines, like, I haven't even called the Raiders GM in, like, a month. What the hell are they talking about? Like, seriously.
Adams might be pissed that Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew is going to be his quarterback. Is that really a reason, though, that he's going to get traded in July, right before training camp?
It's not like Aaron Rodgers got in front of the media at a press conference and was like, I want Devontae Adams on the New York Jets. Like, no, they asked him at a freaking golf outing, like, oh, would you want to play with Devontae again? Like,
he's like, I miss him. Of course he's going to say he misses him. And then he'll say he'll play with him again. Of course he wants to play with one of the greatest receivers he's ever had. And maybe they will one day.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows? Yeah. JM, I don't mean to be negative Nelly here, but with the way the contracts are structured, there's a better chance that maybe Rodgers is in Vegas next year. Who the hell knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean,
and also, like, I understand the whole, if you're in win now mode, you got to capitalize on that window. But, like, at some point, you got to be like, is it really necessary to trade for a 32-year-old wide receiver that's making $30 million a year and give up future draft capital for this guy? I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
No.
I could when I heard this, I was like, what did I miss? I didn't watch the
Yeah,
receiver
exactly.
show
Where
yet.
did this come from?
It was so random
Mm-hmm.
because you had the golf outing and then the receiver, and he's disgruntled 6 months ago. Like, okay, yeah, he was
Yeah.
disgruntled with Josh McDaniels and Jimmy Garoppolo. So would anybody else in the world playing wide receiver for that team.
Yeah.
God, I was shocked, and I didn't even want to entertain it.
Yeah.
I didn't entertain it. Anyway, that's a lot of football for today. It's a lot
That
of
is.
talking for today,
That
Jam.
is.
The other team I wanted to mention, and we could talk about this another time. I can't get my eyes off of the Tennessee Titans. I can't get my eyes off of this team. I can't wait to watch Tennessee Titans football
I
this
mean,
year.
listen, they made a lot of improvement, or they're not even improvement. They just shuffled a lot of things around, especially on that offense.
And let me say this. They brought in Callahan the son and Callahan the dad. It's going to make a big improvement on that offensive line. And I'm a big Vrabel guy. I'd hire Vrabel right now if I was maybe 10, 20 teams in the league. But I think there's a chance they improved at head coach. I think this guy's going to be a great head coach, offensive mind, good for Will Levis. They made some big time upgrades offensively. I really like this team. I really like this team.
That's
It is a strong division.
I really like Indy. We talked about Houston. I don't love Jacksonville, but like they have the potential to be a really good team if things go the right way.
It's a really tough, good division. Just makes the AFC more loaded. It's crazy how loaded the AFC is still.
Yep.
All right, Jam. That's going to do it. Episode 137. I almost got it wrong. The last 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Make sure subscribing on YouTube, liking on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, rating us there, leaving comments, social media. We'll be a bit more active on social media. I couldn't download the video last week. I don't know what was wrong with my computer. I have no clue. So
what's going on? We getting any Hardline Sports Talk content from you in Cooperstown, or is this school exclusive?
So I'll be in Cooperstown this weekend for WRHU Sports, which I'm very excited about. The radio station Hofstra sending me. I will have pictures for us that I think we can post.
Okay.
We'll see some cool stuff this weekend. I will send you some pictures to post of us.
Yeah.
In Cooperstown for the induction ceremony this weekend. Might be able to talk to your boy Derek Jeter.
Exciting things. Get me some autographs.
Yeah, I can't do that. That's not allowed on media. I have to be professional there.
Come on.
But I won't be here.
Low key about it.
Yeah. Hey, take the.
So, but what is the plan? Like, this is your first time ever going to Cooperstown, right?
First time ever going to Cooperstown.
Are you touring the museum? Are you going to Doubleday? Are you doing the whole thing?
I'll be in. I want to get to the museum, obviously, as like a diehard fan. But like, there's events on Saturday where there's gonna be players walking around, from what I hear. So like, I'll have a recorder in my hand at all times, a phone in my hand. So it's just about talking to as many people as possible, get as many pictures and videos for the social media accounts, and it'll be interesting. I don't know what I'm walking into on Saturday though. And then Sunday is the actual ceremony. So there's like a press before the ceremony, and then they do the big ceremony for a couple hours, and you're there.
You got the lanyard, the whole thing?
Yeah, I'll have the lanyard.
Nice.
I'll look like a preppy Catholic school boy there.
Nice.
Got the khaki pants, collared shirts. Be good.
Nice. Pants?
And we got pants. Good weather in Cooperstown. The highest it's going to be is 80 degrees this weekend. I was shocked.
Not bad. That's
a win because I know it gets hot up there.
Well, I never. Oh, no, gain's down. We're good. Never checked the gain before we started, but
we were good. You weren't piercing through my headphones.
That's good. That's good.
All right, guys. We won't be here next week. I'll be on the Jersey Shore living it up. So we'll talk to you guys soon, and a lot of football to come. So we'll talk to you guys next time.